Fox News alert for you. Major shift points to a new frontrunner now in the Buckeye State. Governor John Kasich flying high in Ohio. Hi, everyone. I'm Gretchen Carlson. This is The Real Story. Governor Kasich getting a big boost in the final days before the presidential primary in his home state. He's now jumped ahead of Donald Trump in the latest Fox News poll. 34% of likely Republican primary voters in Ohio saying they prefer Kasich over Trump as the Republican nominee. It's the first time Kasich has taken the lead there since September. Katherine Timpf is a columnist for National Review and a Fox News contributor. Bernard Whitman, CEO of Whitman Insight Strategies and a former pollster for Bill Clinton. Katherine, some other polls don't have him this far ahead of Trump, but this is the most recent one now. Could it be that Kasich will actually win his home state?
He might, but it does not really matter whether he wins it or not.
Why?
Trump's going to be the nominee at this point. Kasich might win Ohio. It's more like if he doesn't win Ohio, then it's especially embarrassing for Kasich. If he does, maybe he'll get a little momentum. Who knows? But Trump has all kinds of support. He has support from independents, from Democrats, and I think he has even more support than polls show generally, because a lot of people don't want to admit that they're Trump supporters. A lot of people will admit sometimes in private conversation that they don't want to admit they're Trump supporters because of the associations that go along with that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually has more support than we think.
Well, the other thing to consider in Ohio, at least, Bernard, is that it's an open primary, right? So you can be registered whatever, and you can go and vote. So Democrats may vote for Trump. That
is possible. You know, I think that John Kasich, I'd love him to win Ohio. He's actually the only adult, from my perspective, who's still left in the GOP room. Not that there were that many to begin with.
Oh,
but I think if he's counting on independents or Trump is counting on Democrats to bring them over the top, I think that that's a part of a bit of a fool's errand. Why?
Why?
Because at least for Democrats, the contest among Democrats is still pretty fluid, and I think that Hillary Clinton will do very well. I think it's going to be very close. I think she has great appeal among the working class because she's actually one of the few people who actually has a plan to bring back manufacturing jobs with tax incentives. So I really don't think that the Democrats are going to...
I would think that would be scary for Democrats if Trump can get independents and Democrats, because that's ultimately what decides general elections. I know we're going a little fast forward, but let's move on to this, because there's still other people in the race, right? Remember when Marco Rubio got down in the mud insulting Donald Trump with remarks about the size of his hands? Well, it was right around then his poll numbers took a dive. Rubio now expressing regret, telling Megyn Kelly last night he believes it was a mistake.
You got a little dirty on the campaign. You got a little naughty out on the campaign.
Well, look, first of all, that's not who I am. And
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, let me say,
a little bit.
You know, I'd do it differently. I really would. And the reason my kids were embarrassed by it, my wife didn't like it. I don't think it reflects good. That's not who I am. That's not what my campaign is going to be about, or will ever be about again. Yeah, I'd do it differently. I would.
See, I don't know if his poll numbers went down because of that or not. And by the way, once he started attacking Donald Trump, Katherine, a lot of people said, where was he? He should have started that earlier.
Right. Well, you know, it was funny. It was interesting to watch, but it wasn't worth it because he said, I'm not going to stoop to this level. It goes against my principles to do personal attacks. And then he did that, which proves that you're desperate if you go against what you said you were going to do before. He needs to get out. He keeps embarrassing himself the longer that he's in the race. I think so, because he might lose Florida.
So and what? He's not a politician anymore. He's not rerunning for Senate.
But if he does lose Florida, that's, you know, the benefit of winning Florida. He's still not going to win the nomination versus the cost of what would happen if he did, which would he would be so embarrassed. And the benefit of winning one state, not going to be the nominee, not worth the money, and not worth the risk of how bad it would look if he did lose.
Okay, do you think it's that monumental? I mean, what if he wins Florida?
He's not going to. He is 10, 20 points behind. It's a total embarrassment. And I think that his poll numbers were actually really, really low long before this. He doesn't have the broad appeal. He's the wrong messenger.
They were higher before, Bernard.
But they were always behind Trump, behind Cruz. He has not won. He's won one state. Okay, I think he won Hawaii. That's
Minnesota.
Minnesota, sorry. Sorry, Hawaii. I didn't mean to say that.
That went to Trump, I believe.
But you know, the thing that bothers me about Marco Rubio, he is that overly earnest guy running for senior class president. He's just too much. Now, I know that because I was that guy, but I won my election.
Oh, touche. All right, great analysis. Thanks.
Thank you.
Time now for my take. While Ohio looks too close to call in the latest Fox News poll between Kasich and Donald Trump, Florida, different story.